Hey guys and friends,
Hey guys,
Jay and Francis.
and the gang, and the dogs.
We are a family of 9 who travel full-time with 5 of our kids, 2 dogs and a turtle, as we go around the country to see every national park. And today we are headed into another national park. After going like 6 months without seeing one, we've seen 2 in a week. And we're super excited. So today we are headed into Shenandoah Valley National Park, and we are super excited because we are headed to do Skyline Drive. Come along. So we are on Skyline Drive. If you're not familiar, this national park is a really long, skinny valley, Shenandoah Valley, obviously. And the most famous thing, hands down by far, bar none, to do in the park is to do the drive that goes through it. It's 109 miles from the top all the way to the bottom, filled with tons and tons of pull-offs, overlooks, small hikes. It's just supposed to be amazing, and so we are super looking forward to it, even though it does take a little more planning, because they say it takes about 3 hours to drive it from one side to the other, and then you got to get back.
So we're in for a long drive today.
Yeah, but we pack lunches and snacks and water bottles, and
we brought the dogs, and we don't always bring the dogs because some national parks, different places that we want to experience, the dogs are not able to go. But today, with a long drive, we didn't want to leave them in the camper, so they are coming with us today, and there'll just be some lookouts and things like that. Not a ton of hiking that we're going to be doing today, so this was the perfect time to bring them along.
So we are continuing our effort at budget camping, which we are actually finding out is really more our speed, actually.
Yes.
Because we're getting into a lot more of state parks and COEs, and honestly, it's just so much better of a vibe.
Yes.
And so we're camping this time at another state park, Shenandoah River State Park. It's about 5 miles from the north entrance of the Skyline Drive, and we have this huge campsite out in the woods. I mean, like, there are other campers around us, but like you have to like wiggle your neck around to see them. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, and it's just filled with honeysuckle. So we're from the south, and nothing says summer like honeysuckle. The smell of it, tasting them, and we are surrounded by just beauty, and we can actually look out and see the mountains, and there's river access from this state park. So it is really beautiful, and it comes in at about $46 a night. I know that seems high.
That's half of anything
That's
else
half of any of the private campgrounds we were able to find here. And one of the biggest tips that we have, and we'll talk a little bit more about this, and Jay can kind of go into more detail, but the reason we were able to get this state park was because of a site called Wandering Labs. Wandering Labs is where you can put in any state park or national park that you want to visit, and it's a bot that checks for availability thousands of times every single day. And so this was completely full. There were no availabilities to be had, but we put in Shenandoah River State Park into Wandering Labs, and I got a notification to my phone. It's a text that sends it to you with a link, and I was immediately able to get the days that I wanted, the site that I wanted, and length, and we were able to book that at a fraction, half of the cost that we had, and we were able to cancel our other reservations in plenty of time and be able to camp here. It is absolutely a game changer if you are gonna stay on budget and get into state and national campgrounds, especially those state campgrounds. And we do that actually months in advance when we know that we want to be somewhere. So we'll have to maybe do a Tip Tuesday and go into more detail about that. But that is our #1 tip into getting into some of these more budget-friendly campgrounds that are state-run.
So we are looking forward to a long and full day, but a beautiful day of driving. We're actually kind of splitting this park up into 2 days because it's going to take us literally one full day just to drive all the way through, and then we're able to get off and kind of back on the interstate so it doesn't won't take us 3 hours to come back. But it's still going to take a full day by the time we stop at some of the overlooks and see the things we want to see. And then tomorrow we're going to come back in just a little ways into the park and do a hike or a couple of hikes. We haven't quite decided yet, but we're definitely going to see some waterfalls at some point in this endeavor tomorrow. So come along with us and enjoy the drive. So the way that they organize this drive is pretty neat. And so as we said, the road just snakes down along the ridge, in and out of the valley, all the way down 109 miles. And everything is identified by its mile marker. So it's mile post, MP 3.4, MP 34.6. So 34.6 miles in is this overlook or this hike. And that's all done from the north side, which is where zero's at, which is great for us because that's where we're camping. So I would suggest, if you're like us on the north side and that's where you're starting, as soon as you pull on the Skyline Drive, go ahead and reset your odometer, and then you can watch and see exactly where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
There are mile posts every mile, but some of them are kind of hard to see. They're like knee-high little stone pillars with a number on them. Some of them are a little overgrown. Some of them are a little chipped off, we're seeing. And so if you've got it on your odometer, you ain't got anything to worry about. Because I will say, there are like 70 overlooks and like 500 miles of hiking trail, some of it overlapping with Appalachian Trail, actually. And so there's tons and tons to do. Some of it is super well marked, some of it not so much. And so if you don't know the mile marker, then you might drive right past it. And so having it on your odometer makes it really easy.
And make sure that you run by the visitor center. We've already done that this morning. We went to the very first one. Right down during COVID, they're doing everything outside. So the visitor centers are actually open. They were virtual for a while, but they are open now. And so they're outside, but be sure to ask your forest ranger if they know the best hikes and trails and overlooks, because they know all the best things to do. And so we say that each and every time, but we cannot stress that enough, of just finding out from the people who live here, the people who work here, what the best thing is, not only just in general, but for your family. So he was able to highlight and give us specific maps for specific trails that we wanted. So not just the national park map, but we were able to get different hiking maps so that we could know, because this park is separated into 3 different sections. And so there's hiking in the first section, in the second section, and the third section. And each one of those has different trail maps that you can do. So I would highly encourage you to ask them, ask good questions, get your junior ranger book for sure, and then get started on your adventure.
Yeah, because the great thing about going and actually talking to them is you can custom make your destinations. And so rather than just looking and going, oh, this is a really popular trail, yeah, it might be really popular, but it might be 6 miles long. And so you're able to walk up and say, hey, you know, look, we're pretty novice hikers. We want something that's level and short. And he can say, best one's going to be this for you. Or you might walk up and say, look, we're wanting to put in 6 or 8 miles today. What's the
and we want to see waterfalls.
Yeah, or we that's what we told him. We said we want to see some waterfalls. And so he was able to say, all right, look, you're moderate hikers, waterfalls, you're looking to do about this far, these 2 are the ones that I would
So your
suggest.
park rangers are almost like your travel agents.
For real.
They're the ones who take all the information that you give them, and then they help you make the best of your trip. And that's what we all want. We're only here for a few days. We are kind of on a trek heading up to New England, and so we're just here for a few days. We want to make the best decisions we can, the best bang for our time. So they're the ones who are going to help you make the most of your trip. So don't pass them by. Sometimes there's a line because they're super popular, but they'll take special time with you and they will help make the most of your vacation.
See if we can find some overlooks. So we are just outside the only tunnel on Skyline Drive, and that is Mary's Rock Tunnel. It is only 12 feet tall and a little over that wide, so you definitely need to check those exact specifications before you bring any kind of RV down here. Ours, Loca, would definitely not have fit through that tunnel. But on the other side, there is a beautiful overlook and a look back at the tunnel.
Okay, so this is one of the very first overlooks we've seen that had beautiful water in it in the valley. So this one is called Moorsman River Overlook, and it is beautiful. Today we have a lot of haze. They said it's because of just the heat. Right now, even though it's the end of May, it's pretty hot here today. So we got some haze, but it's beautiful to see the river and the beautiful mountains. So as you can see, we are having a beautiful picnic at the Pinnacles Overlook. And so it's really important, we have found, especially with the family, but just to expect the unexpected. So during COVID, there are a lot of places that look like they're open. There was a grill here, restaurant that was supposed to be available at our last stop, and it was not. And so it's important just to be prepared, grab plenty of lunch, grab a picnic, have plenty of water, snacks, all those things, because we found sometimes you just want to stop on the side of the road. Sometimes you want to take an unexpected hike. Sometimes it just takes longer than you think it is. So having a picnic lunch, having snacks, having lots of waters and things to eat really makes the day just calm and beautiful. And then you can just take your time, stop anywhere you want. There are over a half a dozen picnic places to stop here. Overlooks, you can really stop anywhere you want, and it is beautiful. And so I encourage you to make the most of your trip here and your long Skyline Drive by having plenty of picnic lunch materials, and then just stop off and enjoy the view.
All right, so we made it. This is McCormick Gap Overlook. This is the last overlook to the south. We're about 5 miles from the exit, and so it took us a total of about 5 hours total from starting at the top to going out the bottom. That includes stopping at Ranger Station, talking to the ranger, stopping for a picnic lunch, stopping for a bathroom break, stopping to get gas, and then stopping at a bunch of overlooks.
Yes.
Some of them we just pulled in and out of, and then some of them, like this one, we got out and looked around. So real casual day, but lots of fun.
I would say if you have kids, just be prepared. Okay, so like we, several hours in, they're just going to get tired of seeing the same thing over and over again. We have a hazy day, so we didn't really get some of these magnificent views of the long shots or anything like that. So a lot of it seemed to just kind of be for them a lot of the same things. So I would say plan to get out and stretch your feet, take a picnic lunch. You're going to need a break.
Yeah,
but also be prepared. So we played National Park riddles. We the kids were making videos inside of themselves because we don't let our kids have any electronics in national parks. So on drive days they do. National parks, we don't let them have anything like that. And so we really had to make up our own fun. So be prepared. Make sure you have plenty of snacks, plenty of water, plenty of lunch, but also some games or some I Spy or something like that, because you will need to know that if you have young children, it really could get a little cantankerous towards the end. Even if you have older children, you're just going to need to make sure that you have some good ideas and not to get frustrated with the long drive and just have fun and enjoy it.
All right, so we finally made it home.
Yay!
All the way home. So that's something to definitely consider about the Skyline Drive because it is so long. So if you stay up on the north side like we did, that's awesome because then you get a really quick start to your day. I mean, we were on Skyline Drive in like 20 minutes. But when you get down to the bottom, even taking the interstate rather than driving it back, you still got an hour and a half drive home. So that's what we had. So we finally made it back. You know, all in all, we left about 10 o'clock this morning and got back about 5:30. It was still a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day, even with the haze. I wish we'd had a little less haze for our views, but hey, what we saw was still beautiful and still well worth it. So we would definitely highly recommend Skyline Drive.
And I would make sure that you don't plan anything else on this day. So don't try to couple this with a hike or anything like that, even though you'll be tempted to. There's lots and lots of trails. There's over 500 different hikes here at Shenandoah National Park, but that's not your day. So if you're going to do the entire thing, some people did a turnaround and they headed back. If you're staying kind of in the middle, then you can go up one day and down one day and be able to do that. But I would say if you're going to try to tackle it all in one day, do not put anything else on that except maybe a picnic lunch, a talk with the visitor center, and then that is it. Have your dinner ready for you when you get home or run through a drive-through. We were able to get dinner on the table, thankfully, because we planned ahead.
Taco night.
Yes, it was really good. But do make a plan to be there, and also be sure to plan some things for your kids to do in the car because they will get a little bit bored. It is a very long day for all of us, but it is well worth it. You must do it. It is kind of the thing to do at Shenandoah, so you really need to do it. And tomorrow we're going to take on some hikes and some other things like that, but just save this for your one thing for the entire day.
So if you haven't liked our channel, please do so. You can also subscribe, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and then you can also check out some of our other videos. Come along for all of our crazy adventures. See you next time.
Bye, guys.